Welcome back to Tour Truck Tuesday. I am hitting the live fittings right now. I've had good players here so far, and today I'm joined by, well, two faces you're going to be familiar with, Piers Ward and Andy Proudman from Me and My Golf. Thanks for coming on, boys.
Cheers, mate.
So, interesting one. We're going to do a fitting with yourself for driver, Piers.
Yep.
Obviously, you're going to see this from a slightly different perspective. We're going to bring you guys into this one a lot more than previous fittings, but also Andy is going to work because you probably know Piers' game almost better than himself, right?
I think so. I think it's hard. We are not the best judges of our own game. We know that our playing partners know more than what we do often, so yeah.
So we're going to work with Andy being sort of the coach's eyes on this one, and that is a great call out for anyone out there who's going to get a fitting. Obviously, we've covered, do you do the fitting when you're playing well, which is always questionable because you want a true look to the fitter, but now we're going to bring in a third set of eyes that's the coach that can tell me, the fitter, if I'm getting what I'm looking for.
One thing I'll say on that as well, also the people that you play golf with, ask them before you go and have a fitting. We do that all the time. So look, if you're going to have a fitting, ask yourself what you need to get out of the fitting, but ask the person you play with and say, what do you think about my game, where I could be better? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be a coach, it could be just the person you play golf with every week as well.
Yeah. Now you're an interesting one with driver, and I want to get into it. He literally has hit a few looseners. First call out I've seen, we are going to focus predominantly on the driver, but he's got the MBs in the short irons and then you switch through to MCs in the longer stuff. Any challenges you've had with combo setting? And you can
Not
talk
really.
whilst loosening up if you want.
I'll give you my whole sort of thoughts on, do you want me on the peg still or do you want me off the grass?
I want whatever you're comfortable with at this stage. You've got your body moving okay.
Okay, so what originally happened for me was, because we don't play loads of golf, we were assuming we needed something that was as forgiving as possible.
Yeah.
So P760s we were using and P770s, and they were nice, but I never really felt like I had great control of them. I feel sometimes it just not 1 mile through the back of a green, or didn't quite have control of the distance that well. So I thought, well, why am I not using blades? I'm going, well, I'm not using blades because I think that I'm not playing a lot of golf, so I need the help. But actually, me and Andy, I wouldn't say we're good golfers.
But you have a history of playing good golf.
We hit good shots, so we can hit good shots. So we're going, actually, when we don't play a lot of golf, it's because things like the short game gets a bit rusty and things like that. It's not necessarily because we hit it sideways or miles off the centre. Obviously, we can do that. But I think what I thought with this thing is, well, let's just try a blade and see what happens. And I remember, I had the set come through. I was playing St Andrews with you and Chadwick and Thompson. No, with Big Daz and Jonesy. And they came through from TaylorMade, and unfortunately they were actually slightly off spec than what I wanted.
I remember this now,
I got them changed in the pro shop. I took them into the pro shop. Just change them. I've got to take them to St Andrews. First game of golf we played was Kings Barnes, and I remember I had a 9-iron into the first, and I've hit it and I've gone, oh, that's what I want. Straight away, the spin looked really good, the control was really good, it went the number I wanted to go, and I really felt really comfortable with the short irons in blades. I'm MC 6-iron down. You asked me off camera, why did I stop at the 7? I presumed that maybe I just needed more forgiveness when it came to that 6. I've not tried a 6-iron in the MB.
6 is a good pivot place. I always take someone like Justin Rose when it comes to pivoting MCs to blade. 7 down. 7 down, which is sort of where Rosie lives, and for me, he's been the benchmark of that kind of area. So just getting you loosening up now. This is an 8-iron. I know what spin, you mentioned spin there, I know what spin rates I would be looking for as a fitter. What do you look for as a player?
I think anything, if it's an 8, I'm looking for 8,000. Okay. So I'm looking to match up those numbers pretty much based on the number on the bottom of the club.
Yeah, and a great one that we've had here when we've had Colin and we've had Tiger, and one of the things I want to clear up about the fittings that I've done in the past, I've talked about 8-iron giving you 8,500 spin. I think if you're an elite player and you want that steep descent angle, that's where you can live. I think as your speed slows down and your level of golf becomes more handicap golfer to recreational golfer, you want your spin to come down. So I don't mind if we start seeing 8-iron spinning at 7,000 if you're in the 770 or the 790 model, providing you've got the launch. Good players like this, they've got the launch. So they can put the spin in because the launch is compressed. And we can see that there, launching this 8-iron, that one 15.2, so that's under half of the loft that will be on the blade, and therefore the spin went up a bit to compensate for the launch.
Interesting. Oh, how about a thin, power thin?
But again,
a 12-degree launch.
Take your 5-iron. It's a bell curve, right? I think when I fit, I massively try and keep going, keep moving. I massively try and keep the fitting going. And what I mean by bell curve, and I want you to do this when you go for your fitting, don't get caught into thousands of balls worrying about technique. Like straight away there, conscious of the strike. We saw it, concerned about it. Change clubs, do something different. Get orientated with the target. Keep the fitting moving. You can't get into a world where you are so driven by what's my swing doing. And I think for guys like Piers and Andy, and maybe Andy you can testament to this, if you don't play all the time, it's very easy to get technical. Lose your feel as a player.
But also as well, I think for the, you know, we see this in guys with lessons. They'll have a lesson, they'll hit a bad shot, and then they'll start reacting to that bad shot, trying to, what did I do wrong, let me change that. And that's the last thing you want in a fitting, because you're not going to get that freedom and that flowing of the swing, which is crucial for you to get those averages to fit them correctly. Because if they're changing every bad shot, then they're screwed and you can't do your job, can you?
Exactly. And I know, based on what he said there, and that's why I asked that key question earlier about spin, spin, spin. Shot before, 5,162 on the spin rate on a 5-iron. So he's in his window now, he's in his gears, and I just want him to keep moving, keep getting loose. Next thing I'll do, if I pass it to you, let's get something that we can both agree on as target line. I've got my launch monitor set up down the middle of that fairway, if you're comfortable with that target. And the other thing as well today that I love, boys, and I know you'll love this about teaching as well, and this is why this range is mint for it, flags straight into breeze look. So we're going to see the pure ball
Ideal to just see what's going on with spin and curvature and stuff, yeah.
If you can't get it right, if I can't get it right today, something's wrong.
Something wrong with him.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
That is probably there is something wrong. Another one?
Keep going, let's just get it flowing, and rather than...
I can't hit too many.
Piers, I'm just going to comment on those shoes, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
those shoes are, I think, probably one of the best pairs of shoes I've seen.
Oh, really?
What do you reckon,
You like
Trottie?
that much?
You like those?
I prefer them if they had a swoosh on them.
Yeah.
Hang on, he's done him.
There we go.
He's done him.
I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm going for those.
They are nice.
They are, mate, because I'm conscious that you've said, have you hit this much? Have you ever hit it?
Once.
I mean, it's a nice looking fairway wood, right?
Yeah.
Stealth 2-3 wood now. Again, I think that might surprise some people, but this is how I would fit on the tour. I wouldn't walk into a tour situation where the player probably isn't already working. Often with the coach, caddy stood there, maybe a mind psychology guy or whatever, and then you have to map that conversation. But again, you can see how quickly I'm moving this on. It's pretty normal. If I had a recreational golfer here, I'd be doing the same thing, and I think that's quite surprising to some people out there that are fitters maybe watching this. And also commercial fitting, they take, you get 2 hours sometimes with people, like, it's too long.
Yeah, worn out by then as well.
Exactly.
Worn out.
Oh,
Like you said this isn't going to take long, and it shouldn't do. If
I
you
don't
do
want
right.
it to.
No.
It takes me
Absolutely.
44 minutes to get warmed up, and after 45 minutes I'm done. So we have a real small window here.
So, quick question for you then, Trottie.
Yeah, mate.
When someone's having a fitting who's watching this, when they're hitting shots like Piers is doing now, where should their attention be on? Where should they be placing their focus?
Target.
Just target.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because we all have swing thoughts and stuff like that. Now, he's hit, again, I wouldn't say this in a normal fitting, but again, knowing the individual, I can. He's hit 2 pulls, right? Both of them started right and drawn. So I know the path, I know the face. I'm going to let him as a decent player figure that out. But if he doesn't, I remove, that's only since we put the alignment stick in, remove the alignment stick, because that might not work for this scenario, say nothing. Or if I need to, start getting him to hit fades, which is the polar opposite on the path. But look, good player, figured it out himself.
And Piers never really has any alignment sticks down when he practices when I've seen. Is that right, Piers? I can't remember that you're doing that. I do. Piers doesn't normally have that.
Does it make you uncomfortable then?
No, he doesn't know. I generally will. So my sessions will either be full on technique, and I don't generally have the alignment stick down for that. So full on technique, maybe 20 balls. But then from there, it's playing the shots that I want to play, seeing the shots, putting the scenarios onto the golf course, like you're talking about that you should do in a fitting.
So you align well. And I always like it there as a constant. And again, for a fitting of someone that's fitting someone commercially, I would have that down so that we agree on what neutral is. But I mean, if I see a couple more shots off, in fact, I'm probably going to move it now.
Yeah,
He
for the sim.
doesn't struggle with alignment.
Yeah, just because I know where he's at, and it feels like as it's a point of conversation, it shouldn't be there. So Piers, just show everyone what you're in here and tell us the story about this, because the questions in a fitting from the fitter are as important as the fitting.
Yeah, and one thing I always say as well to any of our students who are going to get a fitting, you've got to tell that fitter. The fitter's going to know where you are on that day, but you've got to tell him where you've been before and where you want to go in the future.
Which is a little unfair of this fitting, because I've played a bit of golf with you, so I know.
Exactly. So, well, you know that maybe. So I would say probably my best driving years would probably been M5, maybe even M3, and then I had Stealth. Sim was nice. Sim was okay. Drove okay with Sim. Didn't drive well with Stealth at all, but didn't really have a proper fitting. We were moving here to the States, so it was my fault for not doing the proper fitting, but didn't actually get on with it. It was just bad for me. Conversely, for Andy, brilliant for him. But when we played at Pebble, I'm hitting horrible high cuts, and I'm not really comfortable with my driver. And that's probably when I was struggling with my driving into most of last year.
Great place to be struggling with your driving.
Can you believe it? You go to Pebble Beach and you're like thinking, I can't hit the fairway here, what's going on? The fairways weren't even that narrow, were they?
You just want to play well, don't you? It's a weird mindset.
Maybe pressure as well. But yeah, so anyway, had this at the shoot. First hit, bang. It was so much better than what I'd currently got. So I felt there was something in there, but again, not being fit for this yet. But original question, were you saying why would I go for Stealth, go for the Plus?
Yeah, and then I've got some comments to add to that, but yeah.
M3, M5, adjustable weights whenever I can. So
lower.
I always like moving. I always like moving the track. Nothing really to do with the playability, because I generally feel I'm a low spin player.
Yeah, and the thing that jumps out to me there, those models that you mentioned, low spin. And I think the reason when I look at your, and I hate to do this, but again, for the benefit of you viewing, when I look at your faults, and I would never do that if this was actual fitting, it's steep, it's down, it's guidey, and that's why you play a ton of loft, because we played the Preserve on that trip as well, and I felt like you got so guidey, to the point where I even said, let's go on the range afterwards, because I wanted, and we'd finished the trip, but like I wanted to be like, mate, you've got to get, so I can see straight away he's just doing this, saying like high tee. You're teeing that up higher, which is good.
Slightly higher,
You're still in 10-5 loft. And I think the reason you can get away with it is because that movable track at the front keeps the spin down. Like every tour player who's gone into this is playing a pinch more loft. Tour pinch more is like 0.25, 0.75 degrees. So a hair more loft, model versus previous model. The other thing he's done, and I'm not really one for anyone who's tuned in watching my fittings, golf shaft. He's actually playing softer than he's inherently played. You've always used like crowbars, haven't you?
T1100 normally has been the go-to.
So again, right there you can see.
That's a decent one, isn't it, Piers, compared to what it has been in the past?
And that's low launched high spin. It's not even come up yet, but it's going to be low launch. Actually, it didn't spin much at all, but it's 8.3. And I think the reason it didn't spin much at all is because of the head. So to be fair, Piers, that's probably why you like it, because you're not seeing. And keep going. Let's get 4 or 5 before we.
Just from a golf swing point of view, obviously I know my tendencies, and I've spent over 20 years now, probably again trying to get people, especially early in the career, trying to get rid of this in their golf swing. So I generally do have a lot of forward shaft lean. So for me, I'm always going to be
needing loft,
de-lofting it.
So your spin loft and dynamic loft will be interesting. Spin loft 11.7.
So for me to actually launch it, I have to do some significant changes in my setup.
Okay.
Ball position.
Let's one shot. So let's get 5 shots before we start worrying.
Nice.
So spin loft is your difference between your dynamic loft and your attack angle. For anyone out there wondering what I'm throwing out there, we did it a lot with the Al Geiberger fitting. I'll put a link in here for that one. Al, great player, works on that a lot, but it's effectively really getting into how efficient you deliver the golf club. So when someone says to you about this lag and doing that, your spin loft numbers are going to move significantly.
And this spin loft, Trotty, is basically just what creates the amount of spin, isn't it?
And how efficient the club is going to be. And you can see here the easy way to work on it with players. This -1 on the path and this attack angle, he's already said he's sensitive to it, but I've got to get this number up. If that number goes up, this driver becomes a complete success. It's a 6.2 on launch. If we get that up, which he knows, because he knows, then we're in. And that's where in this scenario, I mean, that's...
It's a nice shot,
it's
but it's
fine.
still too low, yeah?
It's
and
not...
spinny.
So this is where, and I'm going to use you, Andy, like, I know what I would say, but if I've got you here that's a friendlier tone, a more familiar tone.
friendlier
which is true, more familiar though to his golf game, like that's not acceptable, the shot we just saw.
No, I mean, actually, that is acceptable at the moment for you, just to be in play, but in terms of being optimum and to get the most
that's why
out
I
of
hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I don't want to...
I'll be down a lot on distance compared to previous years.
Massive amounts. You can't have a peak height at 63.
So
Rory McIlroy's double that, mate.
Yeah.
Let me just check.
But I just don't want to chirp on and say my usual spiel here. I want to see you give me some height, bud.
Yes, I mean that's...
now we'll carry on.
I want to see you. Let's. I mean, I don't think this driver. That's the other point here, and I've decided already. Unless you say something in the next 3 balls that makes me think I need to get a different shaft or I need to... There's nothing I can do here to change this driver. This is how you deliver the golf club, and the shots you're giving me are as good as they're going to get.
Yeah.
If you want to hit it better now, it's got to be a couple of changes on understanding. Because, Piers, mate, you haven't given us a positive attack angle yet. So, like...
I'll do everything I can now to do that.
Yeah. But you've come here, you've said you quite like the driver.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's fair? Like, what can I... There's not really a lot more I can do.
I agree.
Average on those 4 shots is down 1.
Yeah.
And your path is going left by 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you have 174 ball speed, so you're not giving me your ultimate speed yet, but it's not maybe warm. But your dynamic loft is down. Your launch angle's only at 8, and your spin with only an 8 launch is 2,500. That's why you like the driver, because the spin on your previous models would have been 2,900.
Yeah.
But what as a club fitter, I don't see. I can add a bit of loft maybe. I could go for a slightly different, softer shaft maybe. But why don't we? Like, how do you feel about what you've seen about these drives so far?
Yeah, well, no, I've hit one good shot, and that was like, that was like a fairway finder. That was what I would want to happen if it was a little bit narrower and I had to hit the fairway.
So I don't like wasting time. So I'm going to make a change already. Then I just want to see something that gives you a bit more launch. I'm going for something that's a bit softer in the tip section. I'm going to add on this loft sleeve here. I'm going to add a degree. Now the worry with add a half a degree. Worry with doing that, when I do that, it could add a bit of spin. Spin is obviously going to be a bit of a killer. I'm obviously changing the feel as well in the golf shaft.
Yeah.
But you did say offline that you didn't love that. You weren't connected to it.
No,
It was all right, but you weren't.
The 1100 has always been something like that I felt more comfortable with, but that wasn't working. So
the thing is as well, with where you've been with your driving, Piers, you've been teeing it low for a long time now, so your attack angle is bound to be more conditioned to be down. So it almost needs a little bit of recalibration to get you in a different place, to get a launch up anyway.
I'll do something in a minute.
So to give you an idea of what I'm doing here with the golf shaft, this is a TZ6 Acra. It's in the 65 gram weight, which is what he played. So I've kept it in the same family of weight. It's X Flex, so it's in the same flex. Basically, it gives a little bit more kick, but it's not very torquey. Players we've had success with this in the past. Number 1, I'm thinking of here, Martin Keimer. Keimer delivers it steep, launches low, high spin. This is ideal candidate to have a higher launch with this. Now, straight out the gate, why I like that, launch was up.
Yeah.
Not concerned about the fact that it's gone right rough, because the launch is up. That's what I want to change. You've got to let the player, that's the other thing a good fitter will do. A, they won't speak as much as this, but that's for the benefit of a YouTube video. But B, let the player feel what's going on. That's the way to go.
That launch then was 15.4. So
Exactly.
Big difference on because obviously it was more high on the face, which is going to influence that.
Yeah, it was a much more solid hit, wasn't it? The balance point on this golf shaft is always also different. In the past, termed as deemed as defined as kick point, bend profile, EI curve, all those things that you guys will have seen when it comes to looking at golf shafts. But we've gone polar opposite from the Rogue that he was playing. Obviously, I've got the trusty Ventus in here if I want it, but I'm trying to get a bit more launch out of this. Just a heavier tip section overall.
Bottom. The face.
Keep going. What do you think? What's the feel?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. think I'm definitely more detached than I used to be. It used to worry me a little bit that it was moving around a bit. It felt like it was moving around. It always
Soft.
feel really strong.
Yeah. And that doesn't feel as strong as what you played in the past, does it?
No. No. And I'm past that point now as well. Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly you can reconnect your feels with something. It just takes a bit of confidence. And confidence comes from that, Piers.
Best drive so far, that one.
That's what confidence comes from. So that's spinny.
Okay.
But if you give me a couple more like that, if you keep delivering like that, and that's the other thing about hitting into wind, and that's why we got this going on. That isn't spinny at all. That's 2400, an 11 launch. Maybe not your best hit, a 164. Path, obviously, which we could get into. Path still going a little left, mate. But remember I mentioned earlier about having a 65 peak height. Now we're living at 98.
And now we're on the plus on the attack angle, look, plus 0.4.
And we're totaling 300. It's normalised.
Ball's probably about 2 inches further forward, so that's going to account for the path.
Okay.
Going to balance out a little bit.
All right. That was good, though.
Yeah, no, that was better. That's the window I want to see. I do want to see it going up there.
So I know, just a quick one on this then. So this is where my history of Piers's game, as soon as he now tries to launch it, ball goes forward, path's going to go more left, club face is going to look more left at impact. His bad shot that he's generally hits goes left. So it's like, if we're going to launch it, we also need to protect the shot from going left.
But why can't you A, aim further right, or B, like, the ball, can't you add a bit of side bend rather than the ball going so far forward? Like, it's late to hit it there.
It's the problem with I don't have any problem getting behind the golf ball.
So aim
it's
right.
Just that there. It's
aim
just
right.
It's the amount of lean.
Aim right. Aim at the right white stick and draw this puppy back.
You can even see now that tee's just getting a little higher just to encourage exactly what he wants.
Because Piers, this is where we were at with the conversation on the preserve range, right? If I take this movable weight and move that all the way into the front now, that's 15 grams gone towards the toe. Simply, now, you've got to release the driver, because that shot you just hit there is going to become your bad shot. So release one now.
That's definitely a better place for him to be as well. Although he hates the right. He hates the right.
Yeah, but mate, we all hate right, we all hate left.
But the right is a protection.
No, I hate the right
left.
more. I hate right more than left.
Well, I mean, there's a whole damn range out there, and we're not picking the balls up, so just release it as hard as you want.
I'm going to go and hit it and find it.
Exactly.
And that's fine, and I'm all for that. I'm all for having something that then has to make you do something, as opposed to allowing for it.
Go for it then. Okay, good.
Closer.
Yeah, go again. You got to really work to draw this now.
We get the impact bag out, Piers. It always works.
See, driver fitting wise, those numbers are money. 13.5, 2300, 110 peak.
Nice.
Good.
Beautiful.
That's a great drive.
Yeah, that's nice. That is.
That's not you, Piers. That's a proper golfer right there, buddy.
You have a blur option in your edits, because I'm just going to show you a couple of fingers.
How was the strike on that, Piers?
Little high toe.
High toe, there you go. Good. So that's doing the right thing. High toe drops it down just under 2,000. But I would, again, where this is a little bit of a cheat code, having played golf with him before, I love seeing 1,900 versus 3,000, which is what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
1900's going to knuckle and hit the ground and go.
See,
I mean, what's the land angle on that? 35. So that's going.
I never had a problem with I'm showing my age now, with old technology.
Yeah.
So I'm talking like, TaylorMade burner bubble shaft.
Yeah.
Using a Titleist Pro V1 or a professional.
Or a Tour Prestige or whatever.
I never had into the wind. I was brilliant.
Yeah.
I could knock it past anyone into the wind. But yeah.
Anyone.
Everybody.
I wouldn't agree with that one, to be honest.
I'm saying anybody. My memories only suggest everybody.
All right, come on. Right, at that right freaking, you're aiming further left now.
Is that left, is it?
There you go. And then draw it.
Ah,
So close.
it's annoying.
I think this is good. Like, if I was to see Piers, then this is where it's like, if I was to see Piers consistently, so Piers can hit it both sides.
Yeah.
But consistently seeing him miss it to the right is only going to help him square the face up and release it better. I'd much rather see him go, I'm just missing it right all the time, because then he can manage that easier.
For any fitters out there, the safe play right here in this fitting would have been to have ended it 10 minutes ago and done the rogue and walked away. You could have walked away, and if he was a customer, he'd be happy. You could have done that. That would have been a safe play. This now is how you work with someone
Nice.
to get that, to get better, you know what I mean? And that's, you got to decide on your style of fitting really, as to where you want to go, what you have access to, what the player wants. I hate that, a little bit low in the blade.
Too.
But you know what?
Much better launch
It's
still,
down
yeah.
the pipe and it's 291. Again, if this was me, I know he's got more speed than that.
Yeah.
Like, let's start adding a bit of speed. You're not releasing it. Nice and high out the blade, and show us a bit.
Get these shoes working.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
These feet working.
Exactly. Show us some speed. Better.
Nice shot still.
Yeah, and you take that as if that's the miss. I think I'd
Yeah.
probably take that.
It's a better flight to the earlier ones, isn't it? That.
Low in the blade again.
Yeah.
8 degrees launch, 3,000 spin.
I really hope he skies this.
I
now.
do too. I want to see it. Let's get off.
This is
So
it's going to force.
this is going to be great for content. If I do sky it,
You need,
50
we'll
bucks.
get you a
to,
new
50
one.
bucks to the guy who can catch it.
Yeah, we'll get ready to
Oh,
launch
we're doing,
that.
I'm not ready. We'll do a hamstring.
You can tell he's American now. He's saying bucks.
Oh, you're having a laugh. There's no way I could.
course you
I'm a
can.
trick shot golfer.
Aim down the right. Okay, good.
All right. That's where the hobby
Stop
comes
hovering
in.
it. Stop
No,
doing
no,
that.
no.
Hit it on the way up. All right. Progress. Go again.
Go again. Same height.
Give me the club. So if you start delivering this poppy like this, then that adjustment of loft sleeve that we made earlier, I can get rid of that. And again, this is all stuff that you do in a fitting if you were exploring and experimenting. We've only changed the golf shaft, but you're trying to show people the golf club now and what you can do. All right, back to standard, and I might even move one to lower if he gets this.
Standard loft now. This is. Yeah.
Correct. Standard on that loft
What's
sleeve.
the loft on this?
It's going to be at 10.5.
Like Joe Miller.
The thing is, when we
Oh,
film,
that's the best shot you've hit, mate.
When we film with Tommy and Rory, that's exactly how high they're teeing it up.
2800, 12.3, not bad. That was. Did you not like that?
No, happy with that. That was good.
Because that was the closest you've been to looking like a golfer. Hey, that was good.
No, I agree.
Well, I don't know where your speed's gone, Piers. 163.8.
It was another year older since last time you actually fitted in.
I'm on
properly.
seniors tour now for fitting.
Come on.
I feel a long drive.
Down the right side, send one.
I'll get you some speed. Don't worry.
I want to
No,
see
not
it.
today. It only takes 45 to warm up.
So if I'd have had on that last one click lower, that would have been.
Oh, nice. I mean, that's such a different animal. That is.
Just the peak height is significant.
Probably a little spinny still.
It
that
is,
one.
yeah. Which is why
But
now,
the
as
launch
we're
is so much better.
We're getting him 125 peak height. Right, Piers, we're going to move some of this loft off. We're getting you where we want you.
Okay.
How do you feel about?
Keep going.
Can you play
These
golf
are,
from
these
here?
are good. These are good.
Yeah, I think so.
Hitting the low squeezer is easy.
Yeah, exactly. As long as I can still do that.
Do you
Then
ever-
I will be able to do that. When you didn't really need. You can just do all that in the
Let's see
technique.
what the attack angle was on that difference. So, Piers, do you know what attack angle was?
3.5.
4.2.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, totally different. So you were like 1.5 down. Was he like 1.5 down?
Something, and then he got it, yeah, down and left.
Yeah.
So now we're getting it where we want it. Oh, how good is that? That's 3 on a row, mate.
Yeah, that was nice.
Very nice. Still a little on the spinny side, but...
Right, Piers.
Oh, he's going to bring me a 9 in a minute.
I can't
he's
take
going to bring
this.
me a 9 degree.
I can't take this anymore.
Is he going to know? He's not.
I knew the fitting that I did at the preserve
You
was
can tell by
right.
the way he was talking.
Yeah, the fitting I did at the preserve was right. I knew it was.
Yeah.
That was proper.
That was good.
Really good.
yeah, it's good flight.
I mean, I think ultimately that's going to be your gamer, for sure. But on the same note, if you can get to a place where you can get into the 9-degree head, and if you're a 9-degree player and you can get into the 8-degree head, happens all the time on tour with Rory and company, anytime you come down in loft, you're putting less loft against the ball, which means the smash factor, so the energy transfer is going to be greater, you're going to get more speed out of it. If you can start delivering with that 9 degrees, it's why Dustin's so impressive, because he plays like 12.5 degrees, obviously because of positions he gets into, dynamic loft, spin loft that we've talked about. He's actually losing energy because he uses so much loft. You're not, you're the other way.
Yeah.
So let's get you into the 9. You fancy teeing the ball up, or are we just going back to low pegs?
That's definitely a little low.
Tee that bad boy up. And
That's twice as high as he normally does.
Good, should be. We're here to get better.
Good.
We're not bringing Bernard Bubbles back.
I need to look at
There's
that.
gonna be
What
people-
does
there's
that
gonna be
actually
people-
look like?
There'll be people watching this who go, what's a burner bubble?
Bubble shaft. Oh, I remember roofing that. I wasn't happy.
The bubble.
Yeah. Oh, right in the toe.
On
as
the
well.
orange head as well.
Took
Just
the
you can see
orange
the
out.
silver,
just
don't
like
you?
ripped it out, like
Yeah.
ripping my soul out.
Oh well,
Wasn't that important actually.
it's gone now.
Yeah, that's gone. I wonder where that is. I might have that somewhere still.
All right, same feel. Come on.
Bottom. There we go. There's the fairway.
That's your bad shot. That's not going to be spinning silly. I mean, it was 3,000, so it was a really bad shot.
What I like about this though is that not one shot has gone left. And we've still got it teed high, we're hitting more up,
Yeah.
hitting it one left.
That's good.
Shot there.
Yeah, that's nice.
So that
that's a
for
low
me
spin.
definitely is better.
You like that
I
one
think
though,
that's the
don't
best shot I've hit today. It's gone flipping 20 yards further, whatever that man says. It's gone 20 yards further.
Well, you've got a little upslope, haven't you? Out there, and that's why I went to the 9, because I was tired of seeing them pitching the upslope, basically. And you know what, mate? Here's the number that I love. That's what I wanted to see.
you? Yeah.
Energy transfer is much more efficient. You're getting to 168. Smash factor, a good number is 1.5 return. Spin loft, remember we talked about that, 9.5. This is efficient, this is efficient, this is efficient, this is good. And then I always love it if they're just bordering on knuckle. For living here in the States, now I'd like to see that higher and I'd like to see that steeper.
Okay.
But
I really quite like the 92, but if you give me 100, I'm happy with that. But ultimately, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with 120 if it's still going forward, obviously.
why do you like the 92? It's a very European way of looking at
Oh, I
it.
just love that shot I just hit. I just love the flight.
Rory, mate, you're like this
I
when he
know, I
hits. He's the legend.
I know.
He's as good as it gets.
He's the best.
Slightly different, slightly different to Piers.
Slightly different beast. So obviously, Proudy, I want to ask you now then. We're getting some confidence. We're getting excited. He's hitting good golf shots. Even to me, that's acceptable.
I like that for his
Yeah.
miss. I like that for his miss.
So you and I are in a good spot here. Obviously, he's got to get comfortable with it, so you let him hit balls in a fitting session. But what would you say now as the coach? Because he's going to have to make a decision. He's got a 9 degree there. He's got a 10.5 that he can make work. If the safe fitter's in the room, they're going back to that flipping Aldila shaft that we started with. I'm giving you as a fitter options. I like getting here, and I know if this was totally just me, I would be like, that's the driver you take right there, and I want you to feel the release, and I would be there, and I would go from here and say, hit me some knuckle squeezers, no problem. But what would you do as the coach if you were observing this to maybe get your player in a place where they like it?
I think all I would do.
I mean, look at
that's
that.
just the-
Look at that.
That's the best one by far.
That's going to hit the plane, mate.
I mean, it's a different beast. So yeah,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So the rough beyond the upslope is 15, 20 yards, and it's pitched in the rough.
that's got to be the best numbers so far. Has to be.
Yeah, 12.3, 2,500. Obviously the speed was where it is. Oh, hello. Those two are the ones that I like. I'm looking for 38 to 42, and he's coming in at 40 degrees, peak height 110, total 296. I mean, for me, that's done.
Yeah.
And I'd be comfortable, so I would look to you as the coach now to summarise and be like, okay, mate, can you live with 9 degrees?
Yeah, well, I think from my side of things, all I would say, from knowing Piers' game, I'd say, right, we took the one side out of play on the left. He's not doing that, which is great. We've protected that. Getting just saying, let's just tee the ball up, let's get the launch up. So he knows that he's only going to miss it right. He can aim right to allow for it. That's the first one. Is it left? That's the first one you've hit left, Piers.
Don't feed the energy to that golf shot. Go to the next one.
But what you're doing here is you're giving him something that is going to help him moving forward. And being a good player like Piers, you give him a club and an environment like teeing the ball higher, trying to launch it, he's going to quickly react to the ball flight.
Yeah.
And like you say, he's going to start to release that club anyway. So I'm with you. I'm like, this
he
club
has to
in the
move
bag.
forward as a player. He has to move forward as a driver of a golf ball. Look at that.
That's definitely going to spin more.
Yeah,
It's
but
low
it
on
wasn't
the
hit
face.
great. But look at it. Look at where it's
Oh, it's
pitched
a good
in the
shot.
top of the upslope, and you hit it low in the blade.
Yeah.
For me, that's where we conclude, and you can happily hit some balls.
Do you know what? This is it's interesting. You're saying, well, what is he saying as a coach? For me, I'm looking at that going, it doesn't matter what any of you say now, because my thoughts are on it that the one shot went left, but it doesn't really feel like it's going to go left. And I don't feel, it's a weird one, because with what you're doing, and maybe we still need to do this in here in the bottom, if you're getting me to make sure that I have to release the face and it can't go left, then I'm golden. Because my fear of releasing the face would be to hit it left, but I hate hitting it right.
So we got to move that weight for you.
You're taking me out of, you're taking the right shot out of play by me having to release it by moving that weight.
And I just maximised
and knowing that I can't hit it left.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm not saying you've eliminated both sides of the misses, but you've given me the confidence to be able to do that, and I'm more than happy. So just a quick one. So for me, this is a great one. This is a bit of a coaching thing. If you're heel striking it a lot, you see a lot of golfers when they start heel striking it, they dress it out the toe. They're allowing for their problems by doing that. If you actually get someone to dress it out the heel, they've now got to change and make that change. And you've made me do something similar, which you've made me change, which is important.
It's good. It's
I like
good.
it.
It's a good place.
And this is probably I'd say, the best display of driving I've seen Piers do, because we're forcing him to do something that's a little uncomfortable, but it's in the right direction.
And here's the thing as well. If I want to hit the fairway, I'll just tee it down low and I'll just chip it. Or I'll hit a 2-iron, which I normally do.
100%.
But when I'm hitting this thing, it needs to be going down there.
2 irons.
There's no point hitting it otherwise.
2 irons got to go living in Southern California, but 100%, yeah. I'm with you.
That's another fitting.
It is. We'll cover that one next time.
You got your hands full on that one.
Right, treat us to one to finish this out.
Okay.
Aim down the right, that's it.
Oh, one more.
Oh, he went for it.
It's just, that was a rubbish through swing.
But that, do you know what? That's the thing.
Let me dial into the shot.
I love that as well, because like you've hit it right again. You're forced to hit up, release it. Interested in the numbers on that one. Yeah, attack angle 1.8 up, not quite as much as the other ones.
No, definitely jammed it. Okay, I was thinking about technique for some stupid reason. What does a good shot look like?
Good.
Oh, it's close, isn't it? That's still good.
That's me working hard draw, that is.
Yeah, it's good. Whenever you get a driver like that, always good. I know there's a lot of famous Padraig Harrington stories of the same thing, setting up a driver that misses right on the range so he feels like he can over-release it on the golf course. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe as well to Piers and Andy's channel, Me and My Golf. There's a lot of great nuggets in there, just like that alignment point on the face and where to hit it, and also how you handle a golf lesson, how you handle a fitting. These guys are the best in the business in explaining that. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And also, he's having a fitting now on our channel. So
that's
go
right.
check that
Dive
after you
over
watch
to
this
Me
one.
and My Golf and we'll get Andy dialed in the same manner. Cheers, boys.